Okay, so imagine this. You're in a lush forest or jungle, or wherever the hell really, and then you see a dinosaur. Yeah, okay, bear with me here. And then you reach out your hand, you extend to it, and okay, I'm gonna add a dinosaur or whatever in post, but you reach out your hand, and then it effing bites your hand off. Okay, so you probably know about that one movie that just came out. Yeah, that small indie movie called How to Train Your Dragon. Live action, yeah, really small, low budget movie, obviously, yeah. It was very charming. Yeah, obviously not. It's a freaking cash grab, that's what it is. But you know what? I kind of enjoyed it. But you know what was really annoying other than the overused tropes that they had to add? Well, the overused tropes, yeah, that's what was annoying. Well, there was one that bothered me in particular. No, not the one where it's, oh, this is for this is for lying to me, and this is for everything else. That did physically make me want to rip out my eardrums and shove them down my esophagus. But no, that's not what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about the one that I just hinted at in the beginning of the video. Yeah, the one where he's yeah, and then he pets the dinosaur, or except in this case it's a freaking dragon, which dragons are cool, so whatever, who cares? But I do care, because this trope is so effing annoying. It's teaching kids that if you reach out your hand in front of a freaking wild animal, they're just gonna accept this as a universal sign of peace, a gesture of peace or whatever, it's not. That's not what happens. If you reach your hand out to a wild animal, it's gonna take this as a gesture of, well, telling him to dig in. Hey, look, my arm, my flimsy human arm, you wanna take a bite out of it? That's basically what you're effing doing here. What are we teaching kids? But yeah, so basically in this video I'm gonna be ranting about why this trope is so effing stupid. So yeah, enjoy. Oh, cute, cool transition. But yeah, look, I got drip now. Why, you may ask? Because I said so, that's why. And anyways, well, so to understand why this trope exists and why it's quite literally in every movie that features a wild animal turned, companion, well, we have to go back to the origin of this stupid trope. And it starts in, obviously, Jurassic World. We all know that. But yeah, so basically, the way that you tame these dinos is by, reaching out your hand, and they act submissive and stuff, which obviously, albeit is pretty ridiculous, but still, it's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. Seeing just a dino freaking act submissive towards you and be your best bud after you just reach your hand out. I know a gesture where you also reach your hand out, but I'm pretty sure people won't act submissive if you do it. Well, this is kind of the same thing, except instead of getting swarmed by a bunch of angry mobs on Twitter after doing it, and obviously the gesture being really dumb, well, this one is also equally stupid, but instead of getting swarmed by a bunch of angry mobs on Twitter, you got swarmed by a bunch of hungry dinosaurs, I guess. Oh, or yeah, like the one that's gonna bite your hand off. But anyways, well, the thing is, this trope is not only used in Jurassic World, surprisingly. In Life of Pi, the same thing happens. Pi, whatever the heck it's called, the movie with the Indian kid and the tiger, which I heard is pretty dang good. It's, it explores, wild instinct of animals, and if they really are our friends like we think they are, and it's pretty ambiguous, yeah. And yeah, it's cool in its respective manner, but still, it's pretty sure it still does use that trope, which, like I just said, is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why they popularize this in movies. So yeah, basically, I'm not going to keep ranting here about why I don't like this trope, because I literally just told you it's dumb, it's stupid, and it just doesn't make any sense. But I'm going to actually yap about why, how to fix this trope, and how to, not include it and include something similar. So instead of just having the main character freaking reach out their hand and then doesn't get their hand bitten off, well, how about you do in the original How to Train Your Dragon, where I don't know if the trope is used or not, didn't watch the movie, but I'm pretty darn sure Toothless actually bites off Hiccups as an act of defense, which is honestly kind of cool. It completely went against the trope, and it's honestly pretty darn funny and realistic too. That's probably what would happen if you just do this to an animal. How do they know that this is a sign of gesture? This kind of looks like you're gonna grab it. Come on. So yeah, you should like, if you're an aspiring writer or author or, you know, short horror movie writer, well, you know what? No, scratch that. If you're a horror movie writer that doesn't make cheesy, dumb remakes of popular children's stories and just add a bunch of gore and dumb, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna rant about something different here. Yeah, I'll keep that for another video, why I think modern horror sucks, but yeah, okay, whatever. Let's not get sidetracked here. So yeah, if you wanna have something similar to the hand gesture where it's like, na, 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 you know, add Jurassic World sound effects or whatever, then have the main character like throw the dinosaur or the animal a piece of meat or like a bone or whatever, and then the animal like, you know, accepts it. That would make sense. And it wouldn't include freaking reaching out and like petting or grabbing the animal even though it doesn't want that. Yeah, that would make sense. That would be nice. Or if you want to take it up to another notch, you could like, I don't know, have both characters like, you know, character talk to the creature. And if you want to, you know, make this more realistic, the creature then like what happens in How to Train Your Dragon, the creature bites him, but then they learn to work together. Like a really good example of this trope not being used and, you know, things being realistic is that one short animated movie. I'll pop a picture of it here, but it's basically about this caveman and a freaking dinosaur, which mind the, well, it doesn't really make sense, I know, but they will have to work together in this prehistoric or whatever time to like stay alive. And it's honestly pretty darn interesting. I didn't watch it personally, but I saw a bunch of, well, you know, clips and reviews of it, and, you know, it's pretty darn good. It doesn't use that trope as far as I'm concerned, and it stays to a certain extent ambiguous. It's not just the dinosaur, you know, becoming best buds with this random caveman just because the plot needs it. No, these guys are like working together because they're forced to. And yeah, so that's all I wanted to say. And you know what? To end this video, how about I talk about something a bit different? Because I feel like I'm just yapping about why this sucks and how to change it. But I'm actually going to try and see the positive here. How can this, well, trope actually help? Because I feel like I'm being too negative on it. So yeah, in the next section, I will be yapping about why this trope might actually work. Now, unfortunately, I didn't change my drip again for this segment, but I did bring my new LEGO Ideas project. Why, you may ask? Because I need some supporters on it. It's almost gonna get approved. Hopefully it does, but if it does, then, you know, support it. It's called Funky Beagle, Secret HQ included. I'll leave a link to it in the description, and please, I need supporters on this thing. Isn't this so cool? Like, don't you want this to become a real set? There's a bunch of customization, and okay, we're not here to talk about my dumb LEGO Ideas set. We're here to talk about, this segment. I knew I would have to talk about this, but I'm gonna talk about how this trope actually isn't so, like, it can be utilized somehow. Now, I've been trash talking this trope so much, but why is it used? Why is it used in so many movies and, you know, shows and whatever? And why do people still, you know, find it cool? Well, because taming a wild animal is a pretty fun idea. And people now, with the Jurassic World movies and their success, it's been correlated with, you know, this gesture has been correlated with, you know, taming wild animals and finding your inner wild side or whatever. So yeah, people that are making movies or series, they don't think about reinventing the wheel. Why change something that's been working so well already? So, you know, they thought, let's just take the same gesture and add it to our show or movie. People found it cool in Jurassic World and didn't find it dumb, so why would they find it dumb and stupid in our movie? So yeah, that's why people use it. But how can it actually be used? Yeah, there's one use. There's only one thing that I can think of, and that's if the wild animal is being held in captivity or something. Maybe that would work. If it's a wild animal that's wild, then I don't think this would work. But if it's maybe an animal that's being kept in a zoo and it's, you know, trained to, you know, act submissive to people, and then you like reach out your hand or the person reaches out his hand in the movie or the series and they like pet it, maybe that could work. But at the same time, honestly, what I'm gonna say here is pretty difficult to find a good use for this. So yeah, I know this section was supposed to be on me yapping about how this trope could actually be used somehow, but you know what? I'm not gonna try and justify this trope. I'm not freaking Hollywood. I'm not gonna get like freaking banned from Hollywood if I talk trash about their tropes. a YouTuber with 40 subscribers, not even that much. So yeah, I'm allowed to talk trash about this, just like the critical drinker is allowed to talk about his controversial views, which honestly, albeit I think he might have some points, but you just like, okay, you know what I mean. He just exaggerates his opinion a bit. It feels repetitive after some time. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be that negative guy that thinks anything that has something that isn't very realistic is trash. But just, okay, I'm gonna cut the app short. Don't use this freaking trope. It makes your movie or series look amateurish, or not really amateurish. It looks like you haven't done your research and you just watched a bunch of Jurassic World movies and wanted to copy their success. So yeah, that's it. Just how hard is it not to add a section where the main character like reaches out his hand and pets the creature, or like isn't really usually petting. It's like this, and imagine that's the wild animal, and he's like, then the wild animal himself comes and like does this. Yeah, it's so yeah. That's all I wanted to say, and please subscribe. I literally have 0 subscribers. I mean, technically 40, but I need to reach 1K subscribers by the end of the month, or else I'll commit war crimes. Okay, that's a joke, by the way. YouTube, don't nuke my video off the platform. But yeah, that's it. Don't use dumb tropes, I guess. Bye. The end screen should appear now, and I'd like to thank my Patreon members. Oh wait, I don't have a Patreon. So yeah, I'm telling you to subscribe again. So like, do it. I don't have any psychedelic, mind-boggling techniques to get you to subscribe, but just please do it. Please. Okay, anyways, what I actually wanted to say, and what I forgot to say earlier is, yeah, watch my analog horror series, please, guys. I don't want to be forced to make brain rot shorts, which, by the way, I don't want to make those. It's just, that's how you get popular on YouTube. YouTube doesn't reward people who make long-form, meaningful content. They reward people who make brain rot shorts. Or actually, no, they do reward people who make long-form videos continuously, but I don't have that kind of patience. YouTube is kind of fair. But I'm not patient. I'm not patient like that. I'm not going to wait like 10 hours just to get like a few likes, so, yeah, okay. Please, watch my analog horror series. Here it is. It should appear right here. And it's also in the description of the video. It's called Nightfall Enterprises. Well, yeah, that's actually it. Yeah, I'm gonna go now. Bye.